Hi everybody, and welcome to the PK Fashions channel. It's your girl, the PK Fashionista. This episode is going to be the part 2 of how to read the sewing pattern. If you missed part 1 for whatever reason, or you missed my whole complete sewing series that I have on this channel, then feel free to go to the playlist, Sewing with the PK Fashionista. It's all the sewing videos that I have. I also have fashion videos and beauty videos and much, much more. So look for that particular playlist and it will let it roll. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate the new subscribers that I have. You guys seem to be very interested in the sewing series, especially because a lot of people are into sewing now. When you go to the store now and you looking for something and you just don't find it. So it's like, why not make it? So sewing is really becoming a hot trend. I love it. I love to sew. And nothing makes you feel better than going outside in public and going to different events and things like that. And someone says, hey, I like that, what you have on. That really warms my heart to say, hey, I made it. Yeah. So it's your own unique original creation. So that's the reason why I like sewing and making my own garments. But I'm going off on a rabbit chase. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about these patterns right here. We've already talked about the front, so I'm going to talk about the back now. This particular pattern is the one that I'm going to be talking about on today, and that's Simplicity 2938 size AA. 10 through 18 are the sizes, and they have the European sizes and the France sizes. Don't ask me. Yeah, I thought that was the same thing. Anyway, we're talking about what's on the back of this particular pattern. Now you may say, I don't have this particular pattern with me. It doesn't matter. Basically all patterns are the same. I just want to basically talk about terminology that's on the back of it, because a lot of you fear the words that they give, and Google will be your best friend whenever you have any questions. Going to sewing classes, of course. These videos on YouTube will help you better understand how to read a pattern, because it can be very intimidating. You just got to take it for what it is and let it roll. You know, go ahead and do your research and before you start making your garment. I want to talk about the back of it. We're going to talk about what's on the back. Of course, you have the pattern number, which is 2938. That was on the front as well. That was right here. So, and it says that it has 17 pieces. Now, what do you mean by 17 pieces? Inside this envelope is tissues, basically. And they have the actual printout of the pattern that you're going to use. Now, inside of the tissue, on the tissues is the actual pattern that you're going to have to cut out to make your actual garment. So there's 17 pieces in this particular envelope. So that's what that means. At the top here, it also says Mrs. Women's, let me go back to the top part. Mrs. Women's dress or top, pants, and 2 lengths, jacket, and tie belt. So it says the length of the pants come in 2 sizes. I discussed this on the first video on part 1, where I talked about these were shorter than these. So there are 2 different lengths. So you're going to have views D and view E if you want the shorter version. So that's basically what that means. The next part talks about the fabrics. And these are suggested fabrics for this particular pattern. If you have any other type of fabric, say you have, let's see, what's not on here that I can think of that, what is that? Wool? Yeah, wool. Wool is not on here. Say you have a wool fabric, some wool fabric. Please do not try to make this garment. It is not on here. It is not a suggested fabric. Only use what they suggest that you use. Okay? And it's listed right here. This is all on the back of the envelope. So when you go to the store and you have no earthly idea, you want to make this pattern, but you have no earthly idea what kind of pattern, what kind of fabric to use, you just simply turn to the back of the envelope, and it's at the very top. Most of the time it's at the very top of the envelope, so you would know what to use. Now it also says at the end of the fabric suggestions that extra fabric is needed to match plaid, stripes, or one-way design fabrics. And the reason for that is because you have to match them on both sides. Stripes have to go one way and plaids have to go one way in order for your garment to look like it's not homemade, look professional. So that's the reason why you need extra fabric for that. The next part of this particular pattern is notions. And I discussed what notions meant earlier in previous videos, but I want to discuss it again. Notions are simply accessories to whatever you need made. Whatever garment you need made. Excuse my phone. Thread will most likely always be a notion. I mean, that's just plain simple as that. You can't make a garment without thread. How are you going to make it? You're going to look at it and it's going to come together? So, no. Thread is always going to be a notion. And it says for views A and B, whenever you see these bold letters like this, pay attention to that. That's just basically saying which particular pieces are what. So for views A and B, you're going to need one 12-inch zipper for Mrs. sizes, one 14-inch zipper for women's sizes, one package of 1/2-inch wide single fold bias tape, one 3/4-inch button for view C. And for views D and E, C is what? C was the little cardigan thing here. Okay, so views D and E, which was the pants, you need one 7-inch zipper, hook and eye, one package of 1/2-inch wide twill tape. And look for Simplicity Notions and Wright's trims. Okay, so this is where you find what accessories you need to make your garments. Buttons, your zippers, whatever else is needed besides your fabric. That's a very important section of the back of the pattern, as well as the fabric. Everything is very, very important. Now the next part talks about the body measurements. And I did say in a video previously that I would show you, or I would do another video on how to measure yourself. Now it can be a little hard to do when you're just doing it yourself and you don't have any help. However, it is possible to do. So we're going to do a video with measuring ourselves by ourselves so that we can get accurate measuring. From this point on, if you do not have accurate measurements, your garment will not come out correct. And you will waste your money, your time, and I don't know about you guys, but that's valuable to me. So you want to have all of this nipped in the bud. You want to have all of this written down so you won't forget it. You're not going to remember every measurement from head to toe. Also, whenever you measure yourself, say you fall at a 39, okay? And it's not on here. 39 is not on here as far as the bust. You would always go up a size to a 40. I would go up a size rather than down a size, because it's always better to measure your stuff a little bigger than smaller. Then therefore you can take it in. You can't take a small thing in and make it smaller, or you can't take a small garment in and try to make it bigger unless you add extra fabric. And it will take a nice seamstress to be able to add fabric to something, and it may not come out right. It just may not come out right at all. So pay attention to those measurements. Let's just say I was a 40 in the bust, which I'm not, but I wish. But let's just say I was a 40 in the bust and a 44 in the waist. Then I will cut out the particular pattern piece, one of these pieces. I will cut out the 40 in the shirt part, and in the pants I will cut out a 44. Everybody is not going to be aligned correctly like this. You're not going to be a 38, 30, 40. If you are, then you just go ahead with your hourglass figure. Everybody's not built like that. They may have smaller hips. They may have smaller thighs. They may have bigger hips. They may have bigger thighs. They may have bigger busts, smaller busts, blah, blah, blah. Vice versa. Everybody is not built the same. So you're just going to have to cut it out according to your measurements. So that's why I said measuring yourself is very, very important when cutting from these pattern pieces. And another important thing that I wanted to let you guys know is that just because you wear a size 8 at Macy's, JCPenney, and Sears does not mean that you are a size 8 on here. Okay? So you have, these are manufactured sizings. It's totally different than retail sizing. So measuring yourself is very important. That's why I really have to make this video for you guys so that you can have accurate measurements. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to the next part. The pattern size is a size, let's say I was a 40 in the bust. I would cut out the size 18. Let's just say I was a size 44 in the waist, so I would cut out the 28W. Now, like I said, don't let those figures scare you, because that's really scaring me too, because I'm normally an 8, and I think I'm like a 40 in the waist, so I would cut the 41.5 right here. So I will cut the 26W. They're still like huge in retail sizes compared to my own size. But yeah. The next part is a dress with including the tie belt, and this is view A, including this belt right here. So you're going to need extra fabric for that. And it tells you if you are a size 40, and let's just say you're a 44 waist like I had before, I would get 2.5 yards fabric to be on the safe side. And it includes, 2 7/8. Now they have 45 inch and they have 60 inch right here. Most of the time when you go to the store, they're going to cut it at 45 inch. And basically, when I say cut it at the 45 inch, it's the long ways. You know how they take the fabric off and they cut it in the long ways. The length is 45 inches long, whereas the other measurement, the 60 inches, is 60 inches wide, so it requires less fabric than the 45-inch would. Most of the time they cut it at 45. I haven't seen them cut it off at 60, but I guess they will let you know if they do. Or if you want that cut, if you want your particular pieces to be cut in 60 inches, let the worker know what you're doing. The second part is B, top with the tie belt. So if you wanted the top, you have to go, let me go to another picture right here. So if you wanted the top and you're a size 18 with the belt, you would need 1.5 yards of fabric. And it says for views A and B interfacing, 1/2 yard of 20 to 25 inch lightweight fusible. They have all kinds of interfacing. You ever seen a man's shirt that is stiff at the top and the cufflinks are stiff? They're harder than the rest of the shirt. That is called interfacing. Now you can either iron that on, you can sew it on, you could hand stitch it on. There's all kinds of ways that you can put on your interfacing. If they require you a specific interfacing, they will let you know. But on this one, it says lightweight fusible. You're okay with that. And it's just basically some material. It's like fabric, but it's lightweight. Okay, it just looks like harder tissue, I want to say, or cotton type of material. The next part is C, and that's the jacket right here. Also, you see the little illustrations as well of what is on the front of the envelope. And if you were to make the jacket and you were a size 40, you would need 2.5 yards fabric with 1 yard of 20 to 25 inch lightweight fusible interfacing as well. And that's to hold the jacket up. The pants, these are the measurements for those, and it goes on. The pants are worn 1 inch below the waist, and that's very important as well. So that's why I say you need the back to neck waist measurements, and that needs to be accurate. Most of the time it's like 17 something if you have a large torso. So you have to measure those, and we're going to talk about all the different measurements on the next video as well. This is very important right here as well. This is the finished garment measurements. This is after everything includes design and wear and ease. This is after everything has been measured. You know, when you sew your garments, you sew with the 5/8 inch seam allowance. So it allows, this is after the seam allowance. This is after everything has been sewn together. This is your overall measurements. So, like I said, I was a 40 before. This is say I was a 40 with everything. I would make sure that I'm right here, 41.5 in the bust. After everything is, 38. 38 in the bust right here, but 41.5 right here. This allows for whenever you're bending, stretching, walking. I mean, you want to be able to do all of these things in your garments. So this is the actual overall measurement of everything.